Okay, so earlier I filmed this thing about credit spreads, only looking at it on TradingView with this indicator. This is the credit spread from Fred or ICE or whatever. Anyway, here's the thing. These values don't come in real time. They come in at the end of the day or even delayed by a day. But and these represent yields, right? They represent an interest rate and the difference between the interest rates. So what we can do is we can take ETFs that represent that same thing. And when you look at these, it's like, hey, wait, let me plot them right on top of each other. They may look very similar. Maybe divided by HYG. They look similar, and come on. Shit, hang on. Do. Okay. I don't want to give all my secret indicators away. Yeah, so they're roughly similar. And intuitively, you might look at this and be like, hey, this is the corporate interest rate minus the risk-free rate. And these ETFs, you can look up what they are, but basically IEF is the risk-free one, HYG is the corporate one. So why is it IEF divided by HYG? Well, it's because these ETFs are the price, they're not the interest rate. So you flip them around and then you get a series that matches. So I don't know which you would want to use in your model. Like you could use the lagging one. It's definitely cleaner, but it's lagging. And then you have the ETFs, which just kind of work just fine. They're better if you're like low frequency intraday or whatever, but if you're maybe a long-term position trader, then I guess you could just use the lagging one. Now I'll just bring that into here. This is a copy of the same notebook we were looking at last time. Same stuff. Looks like something changed. Okay, yeah, it's the same stuff, whatever. Here we were looking at a bunch of, what was this? I'm just going to delete, I want to delete it, but anyway, data, we'll keep that, and then instead of this, well, first let's look at we'll compare the one thing against the other thing. But we really want to kind of blast through this and get to putting all this stuff together. That's the goal. to make this consistent. Boom. And what the hell? Let's just bring in that VIX in there. And we'll look at all this stuff together. That's the same. XTS. Ooh. XTS is the same. Don't know what's going on here. We have multiples of it. Okay. There. Okay. This, kinda don't care about that one, but, I even renamed this backwards. Wait, did I? No, I think I renamed it wrong somewhere up in here. But anyway, gonna just stick with it. Boom. Okay. One thing kind of dumb about this is that yeah, this doesn't refer to like a real interest rate, so yeah, you may want to use something like this. Regression. Stay true for now. So this value is, it's like a round number. This value is just a price ratio. Yeah, this kind of sucks. Let's see what this does. That's even worse. Okay. Okay. I guess we'll try to use the change. That's really good. Okay. Yeah, so you can just say that whatever change you have in here equals about a 5% of a whatever. Anyway, I don't know. That's something to figure out later. Yeah, it depends on how we're going to use this, because like if we're going off of absolute levels, this is really useful and clean. But if we're just using relative changes, then this is just fine. Since we're just backtesting, we can kind of use this to go off of, and then use this in real time to get the kind of corresponding vibe from it. Anyway, I'm just going to leave those up there. So we're not really going to have a regime with this one. Keep that. Not going to do that. one thing I was going to look at yesterday, we kind of left off, we were looking at this and we're like, hey, yeah, this is great, hey. When we were trying the group by was like just looking at these specific little inversions. But in reality, if you're using this as like a long-term entry indicator, really you just want to look for when that changes, and then that's your hold. And actually this is really, I don't know if it works really to look at it like that, because this may just be an entry indicator, it may not be an exit indicator. Yeah, I don't know, I may not be even thinking very clearly right now. For this one, I would use the change from the rolling max as a thing. That could be really a quick way of getting into it. So we'll look at that. Wow, we were only using a period of 10? That's insane. Wouldn't you want to be using way, way, way more? Wow, that was kind of an oversight there. That's something to look at later. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. What? Get the fuck out of here. Oh, right, that was something random I was looking at. Oh, okay. This is pretty much overfitting here, but yeah, and I'm so just tempted to mess with that. Yeah, so it kind of does show some reasonable entry points. Yeah, so for the VIX, we had an absolute value of 0, like, hey, is it above or below 0? Because that's kind of just, it makes sense, it's useful to know. For this one, the absolute values also can make sense. Maybe if you did them relative to the risk-free rate, that would also be useful. But we can also use the change. If it goes way down, that's really good. If it goes way up, that is not great. If you use percentage change, if it's near a bottom, it will be kind of out of whack. Yeah, we can look at how it moves with the percentage change. That would be interesting. Okay, so how do we do that? df Okay. So when this spread is going up, that is an indicator of stress. So you have really bad results here. Could be an exit indicator. Then when it's going down, that's an indicator that it's a time to enter. This is just looking at the 1-day forward return, so it's not great for like a long-term indicator, really. It says HYG and IEF. This one's kind of funny because it's not showing as much of the downside here. I don't know why that is. Yeah, it probably has to do with the fact that this is a price and this is an interest rate. I guess you also do have dividends or the interest payments coming out of this, but yeah, I don't really know how that impacts it. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do about that. Okay. We can look at this difference and use that as an indicator. What amount should we use, though? Could use like half a percent point. Let's try that and see what happens. And that's already what we're kind of doing with that, but it's just from the max. Here we could do .diff 5. Yeah, that hits 0.5% point. This is just has the change in 5 days gone above or below any threshold. So this is when it goes down, so it's coming out of a time of stress. Let me make this nicer. By that I mean bigger. Yeah, it gives you these funky little entries in the bear market here. I don't know about that. And then, is it any use as an exit indicator? Like if this thing is spiking up, that's a sign of a stressful time. So that's a bottom. That would have been a good time to get out. It's kind of messed up. I wouldn't want to use that as an exit for sure. Just do some casual overfitting. Yeah, I don't know about that. I could use a longer time period. And this still just gonna comment. Not so good for exits. Still good for entries. I don't know. I'm saying that these are good for entries. Objectively, this may actually be better for entries. If you do this, you can probably get more. Yeah. I don't know. So, I don't have a definitive, like a quantitative thing for this, but back to this part. You know, when you see this in hindsight, it's like, oh yeah, of course that was a good entry. When you see this in hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, of course it was a good entry. So it may end up being something where we're just putting all this stuff on a dashboard together, and we're just kind of looking at it all at once and trying to make sense of it. So it is kind of like a more discretionary thing as opposed to having hard quantitative rules. Anyway, it's credit spread. It doesn't feel like there's a really strong conclusion to this one, but it's just some ideas of how to use it. The next thing I think will be breadth, and I think that one is pretty awesome. It's probably the most intuitive one to understand also. Anyway, see you in the next one.